Hey everybody, Steven here.
Hey guys, I'm Allan.
And welcome to another episode of Paint Talk. Well, today, paintbrush talk. We brought in a few paintbrushes we're going to talk about. Allan asked me what I have against Corona. Nothing. I just didn't feel like driving to that store and grabbing those. So there's two brands that are really great. Purdy and Corona brushes are also very good.
Yeah.
There's probably a couple others out there we haven't tried that are good, but a lot of the ones that you get like Worcester and those others, I'm not a fan of.
Yeah.
Purdy is what I've always gone with. So we're going to talk about some of our favorite brushes here, different purposes, what they're for. I'll start off. This is my favorite brush on the planet. Purdy has like 5 different lines, I think, of brushes. And each of those lines come in the different sizes and shapes and angled and non-angled. But my favorite line of the Purdy brushes is the Pro Extra. I call them that blue. They're almost like a royal blue brush. Let me show you how good looking this brush is, okay? There's something about brushing out a house. You build a bond with your favorite type of brush. Right here, for brushing walls, okay? Yeah. This is my favorite. It's a little bit heavy. If you're an amateur, this brush is going to feel really heavy. You probably feel like you have too much paint. You feel like you're going to be making a mess. But if you're a professional and you want to brush out, like let's cut in along the walls, along the ceilings, all that stuff, and you want to do it quickly, this is the brush for you. I have found that this brush works well on smooth walls and textured walls. If you go with like the extra stiff, it's only really good for like really heavy textures. If you go with those softer brushes, they're only good for smooth walls or trim. This is that perfect in between, in my opinion. It works fantastic. So a lot of painters aren't even using this brush, and I'm like, come on, try
it out.
The Purdy Blue, the Pro Extra, it's extra thick, you can see as well. This is the 3-inch. This brush will speed up your brush out time on walls. It'll make you twice as fast, even if you're a professional painter. It's a fantastic brush. And then this, of course, comes in the other sizes.
You have different, it's the same version, it's just in different sizes.
Yeah, like a lot of guys use angled brushes on walls. I feel like that's unnecessarily. I personally only ever used angled brushes on trim work, when I was brushing out trim. And for walls, I just use the traditional paintbrush like this.
Yeah.
I found that you can create your own angle. Some guys still use the angle.
Some people really like the
walls,
angled brush, yeah.
But the angled ones don't come in the extra thick, so you can't hold as much paint. So,
right.
That's my personal preference, and I also am right. So I've brushed out a lot of homes, and we have some amazing painters on our team.
Yeah.
But I can guarantee you, if they're not using this brush, they can't brush out a wall as fast as I can.
Yeah.
Because it's just, you can literally hold so much more paint.
And then, you always have your Team Corona, Team Purdy argument. I have painters. We have painters that love Corona brushes, and others love their Purdy brushes. Pretty much those are the main two, like Steven said. I mean, anything else, Worcester or the big box store brands.
Yeah, you have all the off brands and stuff too.
They're not nearly as good.
The problem with those ones is that the bristles start to fall apart and actually start coming out.
Yep.
And like you'll be brushing a wall or brushing some trim, and there's like 4 bristles in my paint. You had to go in there and like pick them off. It's just not worth it.
And over time they start splitting too.
Spend a little extra money on your brushes, and you will work faster. You will have a better finish on the paint, and you'll enjoy your life as a painter a lot more.
For painters, for DIYers, having good brushes maybe isn't quite as important because you're not doing it every day.
If you want to save a few bucks, go with the cheap brush. If you want to save a couple hours, get the better rollers, get the better brushes. If you're doing it yourself, you're saving money already on labor,
That's
right?
true.
You go ahead and get some better tools. This brush is like 20 bucks. This one's probably like $16, $17. Versus what you're going to buy a $10 brush, save yourself a few dollars, and then it's going to be way harder to work. Like I said, this one's a little bit hard for an amateur, but go ahead and get like one of these bad boys. This will help you out a lot over your cheap brushes.
You got the white bristle over there.
Then you've got so
there's a few specialty brushes you can use.
There's a few specialty brushes. So if you see a white bristled brush like this, they're normally made out of something kind of more natural, and it lays the paint out a little bit differently. So these are great for oil base, and the reason for that is that they clean out really well. If you use one of these on oil base and then you try to wash it out with paint thinner and stuff, and even then, it's never the same. The brush is kind of ruined.
Yeah.
Whereas these, you wash them out, the oil-based paint will wash out of these properly, and you can keep reusing it. You'll ruin a brush like this using oil. I think it says for water and oil. it says all paint. Someone will say water and oil. Truthfully though, like it ruins the brush after 1 or 2 uses with oil. So I don't recommend. I would recommend one of these white bristle brushes for oil base if you're doing that. And these are the white bristle. These are the softer ones, and it's really soft. It lays out that oil based paint really nicely. So there's other specialty brushes, but honestly, like between these three, you would hardly ever need any other brushes.
Yeah. What about cleanliness, maintenance, all of that? Any tips you have for your painters out there?
So when you're washing out brushes, it's a good idea if you have the time to soak them a little bit in some hot water and then wash them out. Occasionally, even if you don't have time, you just wash them out real quick in somebody's backyard or in a bucket or whatever. It's good to occasionally, maybe at the end of the week, a lot of painters will take their 5-6 favorite brushes and then stick them in a warm bucket of water and let them sit. If you have a lot of paint that dries up, because a lot of times what you'll find is that you're able to wash the
tips, but
you're able to,
the bottom.
Yeah, you're able to wash the tips and stuff, but towards the bottom, the paint kind of starts to build up, and the brush becomes stiffer and stiffer, and then the usable portion of the brush keeps getting smaller and smaller. And they have some brush cleaner, like chemicals that you can soak them into as well. Again, like truthfully, I've tried all that stuff. Yeah. Once you let a brush go and it starts building up in there, even if you use all that stripper stuff, basically chemicals to try to get all that junk out of the brush, and you clean it all out, the bristles aren't the same.
No.
They don't feel the same. They don't brush the same. So truthfully, the best thing to do is just keep your brushes really clean and regularly soak them in hot water, and that will keep your brushes lasting a long time. One of the things that we kind of have as a general rule with our painting company is that painters buy their own brush. We'll buy other materials and all that stuff as part of the job, but each painter has to buy their own brush, so they learn to take care of it.
Yep.
Because, I mean, you let a brush dry out, you can ruin it in one day, or you could keep a brush for months and just keep reusing it if you're taking care of it. And so each painter buys their own brush, so they have their own opinions on it and everything.
You'll hear a lot of different little secret concoctions. I have painters that literally buy like conditioner, and they condition the bristles. And I mean, there's so many little home remedies. The important thing is that if you're a professional painter out there, learn to take care of your brushes, and that's another. If you learn to do that, you'll be more willing to buy the more expensive brushes. Because I genuinely feel that one of the reasons that professional painters don't buy better brushes is because they know they're not going to take care of them well enough, or they're used to having cheap brushes and don't think that a better brush can actually last longer. But I've had painters that have had the same brushes for years. It's because they really take care of them. So they can last a long time. It just depends on how well you take care of them and how well you clean them.
How well you clean them. So hot water. I personally never did the conditioner. I'm sure it helps. But yeah, and the truth is, like I said at the beginning, it makes a massive difference on your speed and quality of work.
Yeah.
Having good tools allows you to do a better job.
Sure. Yep.
So big believer on that. Painters out there watching this, try this brush, okay? I swear, if it doesn't make you faster, call me, because then it will. I guarantee it.